We got new people.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Monday, March 9th, 2026 regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order. If we could all stand and face the flag and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Anderson, can I have roll call, please?
Yes, before roll call, we have our one member, Andrew Creel. We received his resignation in January, so he served 3 years with us, so thank you to him for that. And we have our alternate, Jason Benedict, that will now be a member. So got your spot up there.
I wasn't sure when we were doing that, so come on up. And thank you to Andrew for his service and his time. He was a good, loyal member of the Zoning Board of Appeals, and we appreciate that. Okay, now we can do roll call.
Member Benedict?
Here.
Member Branch?
You didn't
Here.
get a chance to sit down.
Member
Sorry.
Krug?
Here.
Member McDonald?
Here.
Member Sear?
Here?
Member Wilner?
Here.
And Chair McAlpine.
Here.
Okay, we have
We do have a quorum, so we can confirm that that is here present. We have all of our members seated. Next up is the approval of the agenda. You should have all received the agenda for this evening's meeting in your packet. We do have some, if you're in the audience, available as well. But I do need a motion to approve the agenda as presented and a support, please.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda for the Monday, March 9th, 2026 meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals to order, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Our agenda has been approved. Next up is the minutes from our last meeting that was held on December 8th, 2025. Hopefully, you've all had a chance to review those. Are there any additions, corrections, revisions? And if there are none, we do need a motion to approve those minutes so that we can get those into the record. Anyone have any changes, recommendations? Okay. We could just have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you.
I'll support.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes from our meeting on December 8th, 2025, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? At this time, we do not have any old business, so we'll move on to our first application. It is application PBA 0126, Zach Hewitt for Well Wishes Tattoo, located at 2715 Woodward Avenue, parcel 042517428022, located on the west side of Woodward between Eaton Road and West Boulevard. They are requesting a variance for parking to allow an additional chair for service to be added. If you could go ahead and give us the background on this, please.
Certainly. 27815 Woodward, parcel number 042517428022 is requesting a non-use variance of 9 off-street parking spaces. Per Berkley City Code Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 138, Article 14, Section 14.04 Q3Z, parking space requirements by use for tattoo body piercing studio requires 1 per chair plus 1 per employee. There are 3 parking spots in front for on-street parking credit per 1404M. 27815 Woodward has been continuously occupied by established tattoo studios since as early as 1996 as legal non-conforming uses not meeting parking requirements. I have provided in your packets the business license history showing that goes back. The applicant wishes to install an additional booth service chair that will be equipped to accommodate wheelchair customers. The 5 existing booth chairs have 3 steps going up to the service areas. The installation of an additional booth chair and change in the floor plan would require the current off-street parking requirements to be met per the Berkley City Code Zoning Ordinance, Chapter 138, Article 14, Section 1404 Q3Z. Calculations for 1 chair plus 1 per employee. Under the previous off-street parking requirements, the calculation was 1 per 100 square feet of usable floor area, requiring 7 parking spaces. Adding a chair would not have changed the number of required off-street parking unless the usable floor area changed under the previous parking requirements. With the addition of the booth or chair, bringing the total to 6 booths and 6 employees, the parking requirement will be increased to 12 parking spaces per the current ordinance. There is no off-street parking in the rear of the building. The parcel does qualify for 3 on-street parking credits for the spots in front of the building off Woodward Avenue from MDOT. Under the previous ordinance, those spots were not counted. The variance request is for 9 parking spaces. For a variance to be approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals, it shall meet the standards of Section 138-17.04 of the zoning ordinance based on findings of fact. We request the Zoning Board of Appeals to determine if there are unique characteristics of the property and the applicant demonstrates a practical difficulty in order to grant a non-use variance. Motions for approval and denial were provided in your packets.
Okay, so before we call the petitioner up, I'm just going to review the standards for review. The need for the variance is due to unique circumstance or physical conditions of the property. The need for the variance is not the result of actions of the property owner or previous property owners. Strict compliance with the ordinance will unreasonably prevent the property owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render conformity with those regulations unnecessarily burdensome. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice to the applicant as well as the property owners. And then the final one is the request for the variance will not adversely impact the surrounding properties. So those are our 5 criteria that we need to meet. If Mr. Hewitt is here, if he could come up to the podium. If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Zach Hewitt. My address is 3279 Minerva Street, Ferndale, Michigan.
So what we just need you to do is just tell us a little bit about your request and why you need it, and a little bit about your business as well.
Well, we moved into a business that had an established floor plan, and it doesn't have the ADA compliance, so we would like to add that station, and then that would change our parking variance, and we don't have the amount of spaces that we need to provide that.
Okay. We skipped it. We should have asked Ms. Anderson if there were, anyone have any questions for Ms. Anderson?
This is a required thing that they have to do?
The ADA,
Adding a handicap?
I don't believe that it's required.
It's not
but
required.
we would like to be able to service as many
Okay.
people of the community as
So
possible.
this is by your choice?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Ms. Sayer?
Is there a handicapped spot, parking spot there?
There's nothing labeled as handicap, but there's,
So-
oh, go ahead.
So would they be required to add one?
We could always have
We
them.
certainly can put a
yeah,
sign up.
We can have them stripe one. It's MDOT's parking spaces
Oh,
in
okay.
front. That's the only parking that there is.
That would be a little wider space, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, they have the aisle and the requirements for the parking space and then the aisle width.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
I-
Yes, Ms. Brand?
I have a question. And I couldn't tell from the photo, is there currently a step going into the building as well?
There is, but not at the back door.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Wilner?
So it sounds like the Vincenta Garage is okay. You know, I saw an email from them or a letter or whatever. Do they have enough parking spaces where they could have an agreement?
They do not want
do
to
not wanna
do an
do an
official
official
agreement.
They don't want to do it.
No.
So they have enough. They could do it. They just.
But we
don't.
share clients, so they are fine with our clients using theirs, and
Yeah, I mean, I
and
saw that-
likewise, people
Yeah.
from there park in front of our
I
place.
saw
as
that they
well,
said they
so.
were okay with it. I was just
Yeah.
surprised
Yeah.
that they wouldn't do an
Yes.
agreement then.
I have more questions.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
Ms. Branch?
that's okay.
No, go ahead.
In the statement, it indicates that there's no parking in the rear of the building. Is there no parking in the rear of the building, or is there no access to that parking in the rear of the building? Because when I looked at the map, it does look like there's a lot behind.
That's the Vincetta's lot.
Okay, that is the Vincetta's lot, and you had already asked them if they were willing to offer you some parking, and they said no. Okay, that's my question.
Before you speak, if you could just come up to the podium and give us your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Nicholas Kelly. I'm Zach's business partner.
Okay,
I just didn't want to step up
No,
to you
that's
and
okay.
ask for my name.
we just need your address too, I'm sorry.
272 Albany Street, Ferndale, Michigan.
Okay,
We do tattoo their upper management as well, and we share customers with them. So pretty much since day one, they've stated that the owners said don't mess with us if our employees park back there, especially anybody handicapped, because we bring them to the back door.
okay. All right, thank you. Do we have any other questions? Do you have, Ms. Sarah?
What are your hours for your business in comparison to the Vincetta Garage?
Well, we are 11 to 7, Tuesday through Saturday, and Vincetta's, I believe, opens around 10 or 11, but they go much later.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I might have
Yes,
missed
Mr.
this.
Bennett?
Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
But for the construction, would they still be out of compliance? Would they still need the 6+6 parking spaces?
I'm sorry, if they don't do construction, if they
weren't.
don't do anything, they're legal non-conforming. And,
Okay.
but they want to change the floor plan and add the chairs, so that makes it to where they have to go with the current requirements for parking.
Understood. Thank
So
you.
they could do everything they wanted to do before we changed the zoning ordinance
Without a variance.
without a variance.
Yes, because they were legal non-conforming, and it didn't go by the number of chairs, it went by the usable floor area.
Okay, yes.
I have
Ms. Brand?
I have a related question to that. In the packet, it said one of the reasons to add the additional booth that is ADA compatible is because there's steps into the existing stations.
Correct.
My question is for Kim: if they were to modify one of those stations without adding an additional station, would they still be covered under their non-conforming use with the parking, or does the advent of any construction whatsoever put them into a need for a variance, even if they're not adding a net new station?
So if they were to, like, try to modify one of the current chairs to be wheelchair accessible,
Okay.
that would be major construction, because the elevations are uplifted, there's
Okay.
3 steps going up. So that would,
But that wouldn't require them to bring their current parking
Correct.
variance into compliance?
if
Okay.
they kept the same number of chairs that they currently have.
Okay.
Okay, I do have a question. So you have 5 chairs. How often are all 5 in use? And do the tattoo artists have varying schedules so that the potential of having 6 people there at one time is what?
Pretty slim. We do stagger. Some artists stagger days, and not everybody is always busy. So people come and go, and not often is it just jam packed.
Okay.
I mean, we have to assume that it's gonna be full.
Yeah, no, I just was curious because I know we've looked at other things and just talked about hours of operation and things like that. So, yes, Ms. Sarah?
Did you consider altering one of the 5 stations? And if so, why did you choose not to do that option?
Well, they are 3 steps up, and it's one solid platform per side of the shop. So we'd have to demo the entire thing. It would require all new electrical and plumbing as well, because that's all run underneath the.
You couldn't make a ramp of some sort?
It would be a very long ramp, and it
Oh.
would be in the way of actually access to get through the shop.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I have some photos if you'd like to see.
Was that included in the packet?
Yeah,
Okay.
these photos,
Okay.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes, Ms.
I
Branch?
have one more question. I'm sorry.
We can answer as many as we want.
So-
That's all we need to do.
So the original packet also indicated that prior to your occupancy, the previous business had an agreement with the space that's now urgent care, and they also declined to engage in a shared parking agreement. And Vincetta has said not formally, they won't formally do shared parking. Were there any other businesses that have adequate parking that you approached to see if they would be willing to share parking?
We tried all surrounding businesses within a half a mile when we were opening.
Okay. And did you reapproach any of them?
No, not currently.
Okay,
We were just going through the city first
okay.
to see.
And I will say, just being that we're a small business on a budget, you know, as Zach said, the major construction and load bearing of the entire space being built out at once, we have a very large counter space that's sort of unutilized, so that was why we came up with the idea of just doing that as the floor plan. So we're not,
And that's,
we're really just using that
They don't-
space as our new booth.
this
That's
is
all it is.
raised, so they can
Yeah.
use this area as a lower.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Kim, you said that was it's legal, non-conforming as far as parking spaces that they have now. How many, if they were if they were in conformity with the current, how many spaces would that building have?
Well, what do they currently have as far as
Well,
parking?
you
They
said it's
don't.
non- It's,
There's no spaces.
There's
They
not-
literally
no
have
spaces
No
other,
spaces.
parking
no
lot.
spaces other than the 3 that just now can be counted as parking in the front. In the old, previous ordinance, the parking in front did not count.
But they were okay because it went on square footage, so.
Well, they've
so when
never
we
had, it's
switched-
just been a legal
Right,
non-conforming.
and when we switched, we gave them 3 parking spots, and that's still non-conforming,
Correct,
just as a different formula of calculating.
yes.
Yeah,
Have you
Ms.
had any complaints at all about that?
No, no.
And we had no correspondence, we could,
Yeah, there will be a public comment right at the end, yes.
all right, well, thank you very much. I will open this up to the public. If there's anyone in the audience who wishes to speak, if you could please come up to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and tell us your thoughts on this proposed change or addition.
Good evening. Dan Winter. I am address 1357 Davis Avenue, Birmingham, Michigan, on behalf of ownership of the building and managing it for the last 25 years. As these gentlemen mentioned, they took over the, we'll say, since 1996 space. I believe that they both were apprentices under the original owners. And so they've got a great reputation there. Probably the cleanest I've seen the property and what the care they've taken to the interior. I'm pretty well in tune with the people around it and neighbors, and that's the last thing we want to do is cause any undue stress in the neighborhood, especially with the restaurant and Vincetta, and they seem to have an excellent relationship, as they mentioned. So my opinion from a management standpoint was I don't see any negative to
Okay.
their request.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? Okay. If not, we do have some correspondence that I will read into the record. To whom it may concern, I am writing on behalf of Vincetta Garage regarding the neighborhood business Well Wishes Tattoo. Well Wishes Tattoo has been located next to our restaurant for over 2 years. During that time, we have maintained a positive and cooperative relationship. There have been no parking concerns, shared access issues, or any disagreements between our businesses. The presence of Well Wishes has not negatively impacted our operation in any way. In fact, Well Wishes Tattoo has been Vincetta customers, and we share mutual customers within the plaza. Their business has been a consistent, positive, and respectful part of the local business community. From our perspective, we do not foresee any issues or concerns with Well Wishes moving forward with their plan to build a new booth within their space. We believe that they will continue to operate responsibly and maintain the same positive relationship we have experienced over the last 2 years. Please feel free to contact us if any additional information is needed. And it is Brian, maybe? It's from the restaurant manager from Vincetta Garage at 27799 Woodward Avenue. Runs this, there's a signature on this, and it's just hard
Yes.
to understand, so.
Yes.
That is the only other correspondence we have, and I don't believe we've received any since.
Not on this
Okay,
case.
Okay, if we want to go ahead and have a discussion amongst ourselves and talk about this request and figure out how we want to proceed. Yes?
Can I ask Kim one more question?
Yeah.
Close public hearing.
Oh, I'm sorry, I need to close the public hearing. 7:19.
Is Vincetta, do they have enough spots now so that they're compliant? Do they have additional spots, or do they have exactly enough?
I could not give you the number that they, because they have the 2 parking lots now, Eaton and the Oxford, so.
But they do
as
have
far
enough?
as- Yes, yes, they do have enough.
Do you know if they have any extra, or you don't?
I don't know that offhand.
Okay.
I would have to do
Okay.
a calculation. I know since the parking lots have come into, we've not had any issues.
Yep, okay.
So the complaints about Vincetta's parking issues have decreased?
I haven't heard any come in.
Okay, good. All right. Anyone else? Comments, questions? What's our thoughts here?
I think
Mr. Wilner?
they have, like, there's literally no parking. It doesn't matter what ordinance, previous, current, no business. I mean, there's no parking. They get 3 credit of 3, so no business would probably be able to open in there if they weren't in there. And had the zoning ordinance not changed, they could have done this change without a variance. I mean, I don't see any reason to not approve the variance, but those are my thoughts.
Anyone else? Comments? Ms. Sarah?
I would agree. I commend them for adding and making it ADA accessible. It's only 2 more spots, and they haven't had any issues. It sounds like Vincetta Garage is willing to, cooperate with them. And since it's only, there hasn't been any problems, and there's only 2 additional needed, I would be more inclined to say yes to it.
Okay. Are you 2 ready to make a motion then?
All
We
right.
have it in our packet, so
Okay.
we can refer to that.
Any,
Any
anybody have
further
any-
discussion before we go ahead and proceed?
Okay. No? Okay.
Mr. McDonald?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Sarah.
In the matter of PBA 01-26-27815 Woodward Avenue, parcel 04-25-17-428-022, motion to approve the requested variance from Berkley City Code, zoning ordinance, chapter 138, article 14, section 14.04, Q3Z of the City of Berkeley codes to grant a parking variance of 9 spaces as required that does not conform to the applicable city code regulations based on the following findings. The need for the variance is due to unique circumstances or physical conditions of the property. The need for the variance is not the result of the actions of the property owner or previous property owners. Strict compliance with the ordinance will unreasonably prevent the property owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render conformity with those regulations unnecessarily burdensome. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice to the application as well as other property owners, and the requested variance will not adversely impact the surrounding properties.
Mr. Williams, your support?
Support, yeah.
Okay. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Wilner,
Yes.
Member Benedict,
Yes.
Member Branch,
No.
Member Krug,
Yes.
Member McDonald,
Yes.
Member Sear,
Yes?
and Chair McAlpine.
Yes. You guys are all
Okay,
set.
all set. Motion is passed. I'll talk to
Next
ya.
up is application PBA 0226, Lori Drouillard and Mark Guswalda at 1260 Lockmore Boulevard, parcel 042517408051, located on the north side of Lockmore Boulevard between Cass and Stanford Road. The petitioners requesting a dimensional variance on side yard setback and distance between the adjacent dwelling to construct an addition. If we could just hear the background on this, please?
Certainly. The property owners, the applicants, representing 1260 Larkmore Boulevard, parcel 042517408051, is requesting 2 non-use dimensional variances to allow for a 2-story rear addition. So the applicants are requesting 2 dimensional variances, variance to construct a 2-story rear addition to the non-conforming single-family dwelling that is proposed to be 3.3 feet from the west property line, and a variance to construct a 2-story addition to the non-conforming single-family dwelling that is proposed to be 13.7 feet from the west adjacent dwelling. Per Berkley Code, City Code, Chapter 138, zoning, Section 5.02D, minimum side yard setback per side 5 feet, minimum side yard setback total 15 feet, and a minimum distance between dwelling units 15 feet. The board has been provided the history on 1260 Larkmore, including the rear addition constructed in 1998 and the 2021 approved variance that expired July of 2022 due to permits not obtained. The requested addition would increase the existing nonconformity, but would not encroach any further into the existing west side yard setback. Per Chapter 138, Article 16, Section 1604, a building may be added to or enlarged if such addition conforms to the regulations of the applicable zoning district. Such addition or enlargements must be treated as a separate building in determining conformity to all the requirements of this chapter. A summary of each request in detail will be analyzed separately under the standards of review. Both variances would need to either be approved or denied. They wouldn't be able to work with one without the other. Minimum yard side setback is 5 feet. The residential structure is a legal nonconforming structure built in 1918. It was constructed in compliance with building regulations and requirements, but does not meet the current requirements of the zoning ordinance. The minimum side yard setback per side is 5 feet. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a 1.7-foot side yard setback variance in order to construct the rear 2-story addition as proposed. Distance, number 2, distance between dwellings. As shown on the submitted site plan, the existing dwelling as currently configured does not conform to the minimum distance between dwellings requirements to the property to the west. The proposed addition will follow the existing west building line, which will encroach into the required minimum distance between dwellings. The minimum distance between dwelling units is 15 feet. Therefore, the applicant is requesting a 1.3-foot variance on the minimum distance between dwellings to the west for the proposed addition. For a variance to be approved, the Zoning Board of Appeals, it shall meet the standards of Section 138-1704 of the zoning ordinance based on findings of fact. We request the Zoning Board of Appeals to determine if there are unique characteristics of the property and the applicant demonstrated a practical difficulty in order to grant a non-use variance. Motions for approval and denial are in your packets.
Just for a point of clarification, we can discuss both variances together. We need 2 motions as well.
Yes, correct.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Anderson from the Board of Commissioners? Seeing that, if we could have the petitioner come forward, if you could state your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit about why you need this variance, please.
Richard Linnell, 2804 Orchard Lake Road, Suite 203, Kego Harbor, Michigan, 48320.
You've done this before.
I may have. Madam Chair, members of the Zoning Board of Appeals, before I make a few comments, there are letters of support. I don't know where they received. There's one, as they say, hot off the presses.
Yes.
You have the hot off the presses one?
Jen Ivy?
When did it?
Oh, nope.
I believe that was obtained today.
No, I only have 2. This is from someone different. They
It's
didn't
from 2
provide it to us prior, so. Okay, yeah, we have one that was emailed and, 2 that were emailed that we have, so I will pass this around.
just for reference, the two letters that are received are the immediate west and the immediate east homeowners. The letter that I just provided to you are on the same street but across the street, so face my client's property. I have been here, I have done this once or twice, and I have been here before. In fact, I was here for the 2021 variance, which was the Zoning Board of Appeals was so gracious as to grant my client. My client, in case there's any thought that she was unappreciative of it, that is not the case. Unfortunately, the economics of the prior variance, specifically the cost of building and altering her existing kitchen at the time, A, it was expensive, but B, it didn't do any, I shouldn't say it didn't do anything to change the value. It didn't change the value even commensurate with the dollars or close to the dollars she spent. And so unfortunately, it just didn't make economic sense. Now one might say, well then what are you doing here now? Well, the reason my client is here, and she's happy to address any questions that come up, is there was a fire to her home. And the fire caused significant damage, resulting in the need to rebuild the kitchen. It actually took place in the kitchen, which is the same area, just for references, which I believe you might have in your packet in architectural drawings, is the same area that we're talking about, and I believe that it was framed very eloquently, but I'll say it in my own terms. The house is non-conforming. My client effectively seeks to, I wouldn't want to say expand the nonconformity. I certainly could appreciate if someone wanted to use those terms, but if it's not clear from the description, the side of the home, which is the west side specifically, that is now non-conforming, although not conforming at the time it was built in 1918, would continue. So from a visual standpoint, it wouldn't change, and that, of course, that's just my opinion, but it wouldn't visually change the house. I think that, and just going back to the fire for a moment, the fire was a result of a child who resides with my client having left something on the stove and just innocently fell asleep. The stove was in the only place it could be in the kitchen, which happened to be abutting the stairwell. And remodeling the kitchen as proposed will allow the stove to be relocated to an exterior wall as opposed to the stairwell. I am not trying to indicate that there's any suspicion of another fire, but certainly it was traumatic, to say the least, to my client when this occurred. As to the second floor, the house is 2 bedrooms. Now, I didn't have a chance to check public records, so I can't tell you what public records say. But what I can tell you is what's in the house. There are 2 bedrooms upstairs. If you look at the architectural plans, where a bed goes is approximately 7 feet wide. And as described by my client, it's a 7 by 7 foot area. There is, at least when my client bought the home, she was advised there's a 3rd bedroom. I suspect, and I really like realtors, so I'm not here to say anything negative at all, but a realtor may have, or maybe the person listing had indicated there'd be 3 bedrooms, but that 3rd bedroom on the 1st floor has a fireplace and would mean there's no living room if there was actually a bedroom, which maybe was at some point. I don't know, but that's maybe somewhat important because my client would like to have a 3rd floor bedroom above the kitchen, which needs to be redone as a result of the fire. And the bedroom would be a primary bedroom, and it would be very nice, but it's not a significant size. I think you can see in your packet, but it would allow for a queen-size bed that would not create a fire hazard. And I'm not trying to dwell on the fire, but 7 by 7 is a tough area to put a bed for 2 adults to sleep in and be able to get out on their respective sides. And that's what you have here. The letters, as I think I've already indicated, I think I would draw specific attention to the gentleman to the west, who has a bungalow himself. I believe it's actually a couple, that they've redone that's quite nice. And if anyone was going to be affected, it would be my position that it would be them. I would also want to, for the record, make it clear that my client has approached every person, which would be approximately 8 people. Again, east, west, north direct, northeast, northwest, across the street, south, southwest, southeast. And she had tried multiple times. She was only able to get in contact with the 4 people that were nice enough to write letters. And so to make it clear, she's not aware of any opposition. She did try, but was unsuccessful in doing so. And I think that's important. I think that's what you're supposed to do as a neighbor. I think that's what you're supposed to do when you're an applicant. Give people a chance to hear, and she did, but was unable to speak to everyone. From the facade, there is a slight indication as to what my client's doing, at least in the plans, and that is the roof line, which I'm not an architect, but I would say the roof line faces the street, if you will, and the pitch of the roof will remain the same, but it will increase the height slightly to allow for the peak in the rear for the proposed third bedroom if we're fortunate enough to have the two variances approved. But at least in my opinion, aesthetically, it would effectively do nothing to change the facade. It would not be visible, you know, on the sides because it wouldn't increase or I should say decrease the side yard setbacks. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I wouldn't want to belabor anything, but I think I've kind of covered the issues, and I'm happy to answer questions, as is my client.
Okay. Do we have any questions for the petitioner? No? Okay. All right. Then at this point, I'd open it up to the public. Do we have anyone from the public here who wishes to speak? At 7:36, we opened it up to the public comment. We do have the letters. One of the letters that we received just recently is delivered to us, dear Zoning Board of Appeals member. We are writing in support of the variances requested by Lori Drouillard for the residence located at 1260 Lockmore, our next-door neighbor. She and her family are upstanding members of the Lockmore community. They have been working hard over the last few years to continuously improve their property. They are friendly and caring neighbors. We do not believe they would do anything to jeopardize the well-being of our community or negatively impact the property values of the neighbors. The requested variances are reasonable, and we expect they will increase the property value as well as the value of the properties around them, like our home. Additionally, we understand they will be doing construction over the next several months, both inside and outside their home. That may cause some noise in the neighborhood. We know that they will do their best to limit the noise, but understand that some of the noise associated with the construction work is unavoidable. We look forward to seeing their home improvement. Please feel free to reach out with any questions. And this letter is from Jennifer Ivy and Jeff Fleischhauer. We do have another one that was in our packet. This is from Matt Janke. Hello, my wife Sarah and I live at 1278 Lockmore Boulevard in Berkley. We support Lori and Mark's request for the zoning variance number PBA 0226 to 1260 Lockmore Boulevard. We met with Lori today and walked around their property and understand the project scope. And we are providing this written statement of support ahead of the March 9th meeting. And this was from Matt and Sarah. And then we have one more as well. To whom it may concern, the residents at 1277 and 1249 Lockmore Boulevard are aware of the proposed renovations at 1260 Lockmore Boulevard. We do not have any issues or concerns with the details of their plans to expand the size of their home. This will help the property values of their homes in the neighborhood. And it is signed Connie Reinholm, located at 1249 Lockmore, and Ann Sheehan, located at 1277 Lockmore. Other than that, we do not have any additional correspondence. There's no one from the public, so I will go ahead and close the public comments at 7:38. Okay. Any comments, questions from our group? We can open it up to discussion. Anyone got any questions? No? No questions? Are we ready? Okay. All right. Okay. Who's ready to make the motion then? We either need a motion or we got to discuss. Mr. Wellner.
So, we're essentially not increasing the non-conforming variance that's already, the non-conforming use that's already in place.
Correct, yes. The houses were built in 1918 and 1928. So in my report, 1260 Larkmore was built in 1918. The property to the west, which is, where am I? 1278 Larkmore, that was built in 1928. So actually, the house to the west was built after this house, and at that time, it was built only 13 feet away. And so it's been a legal non-conforming
All right,
for
so
all those years.
the house is getting bigger, but it's not going any further out than,
Going up, right?
Correct. Just, well, if you look on the, I did put it up on the board as far as the existing west line is not going to be
any further.
increased any further. It'll just be that little back corner and then up.
Okay. I also think it's important to note that if, and I do believe the petitioner did go to reach all of her neighbors, and should there have been anyone that was not happy, I believe that this would have been their opportunity to provide us with a letter saying that they did not support that. So although we only have 4, I don't think that means there's 4 people that don't support this. Okay. Ready for a motion?
So just a note, just make sure your notions will be separate notions. You're
Okay,
gonna
so
have
the-
your
yep.
first, there will be the side yard setback. You'll make a motion on the setback for the variance to be 1.7, and then a motion for the distance between dwellings for the 1.3.
Okay. So what we're looking for first is the motion for the 1.7 feet variance. Ms. Sayer, go
I'll
ahead.
jump in there. In the matter of PBA 02-26, 1260 Larkmore Boulevard, parcel number 04-25-17-408-051. Motion to approve the requested variance from Berkeley City Code zoning ordinance, Chapter 138, Article 5, Section 5.02D, to grant a variance of 1.7 feet at the west side yard, where a minimum of 5 feet side yard setback is required. That does not conform to the applicable zoning ordinance, Berkeley City Codes, based on the following findings. The need for the variance is due to unique circumstances or physical conditions of the property. Do you want me to explain more in more detail about that?
If
or-
you want to, you can put
Okay.
additional information
Okay.
on there. You can put it in the minutes.
Okay, so since it's been a non-conforming and they're not increasing that, we would approve it. The need for the variance is not the result of the actions of the property owner or previous property owners. It's been non-compliant for a long time, several generations, so strict
1918, 1928.
strict compliance with the ordinance will unreasonably prevent the property owner from using the property for the permitted purpose or will render conformity with those regulations unnecessarily burdensome. They have to fix it because of the fire, so it makes sense to redo it at that time. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice to the application as well as other property owners, and the requested variance will not adversely impact the surrounding properties as noted by several of their comments.
Okay, so we have a motion from Ms. Sayer. Do we have a support for approval?
I'll support.
Okay, thank you. If we could have a roll call vote, please? Certainly.
Member Benedict?
Yes.
Member Branch?
Yes.
Member Krug?
Yes.
Member McDonald?
Yes.
Member Seer?
Yes?
Member Wilner?
Yes.
Chair McAlpine?
Yes. The next request for a variance we have to discuss is the distance between dwellings. And they would like us to, the petitioner would like us to grant a variance for 1.3 feet at the west minimum distance between dwelling units, where a minimum distance of 15 feet is required. All right, so we need to, if there's any discussions on this, if not, we'll entertain a motion. Somebody,
Okay.
go ahead,
I
Joyce.
guess not tired of hearing me talk, so.
Nope, you're good.
You do it best.
Oh, thank you. In the matter of PBA 02-26, 1260 Larkmore Boulevard, parcel 04-25-17-408-051, motion to approve the requested variance from Berkeley City Code zoning ordinance, Chapter 138, Article 5, Section 5.02D, to grant a variance of 1.3 feet at the west minimum distance between dwelling units, where a minimum distance of 15 feet between dwelling units is required. That does not conform to the applicable zoning ordinance, Berkeley City Codes, based on the following findings. The need for the variance is due to unique circumstances or physical conditions of the property. Once again, it's been like this for several decades. The need for the variance is not the result of actions of the property owner or previous property owners. We've established that it was a long time ago, and actually the houses around them built up around this house. Strict compliance with the ordinance will unreasonably prevent the property owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or will render conformity with those regulations unnecessarily burdensome. The requested variance is the minimum variance necessary to do substantial justice to the application as well as other property owners, and the requested variance will not adversely impact the surrounding properties.
Okay, once again, Ms. Sayer has made the motion to approve the request for the variance of 1.3 feet to the west minimum distance between dwelling units. Do we have a support for that motion?
Support.
Thank you, Mr. Wilner. If we could have a roll call vote, please?
Member Branch?
Yes.
Member Krug?
Yes.
Member McDonald?
Yes.
Member Sear?
Yes?
Member Wilner?
Yes.
Member Benedict?
Yes.
And Chair McAlpine?
Yes.
Okay.
You are all set. You're very welcome.
much for your consideration and your approval.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Okay. Next up, with the resignation of Mr. Krill, we do need to elect a vice chair to replace him. At this point, we will open up nominations for this position and take a vote from there to elect a new vice chair.
I would love to nominate Ms. Sear.
And I was thinking the same thing.
Oh,
Okay. Any other nominations? Will you accept if we approve you?
yes.
Okay. All right, so we need a roll call vote, Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Okay, we can go ahead and have that. And that is to elect Ms. Sarah as vice chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, so we have it moved by Wilner and supported by Krug. Member Krug?
Yes.
Member McDonald?
Yes.
Member Sear, or she doesn't,
She abstains.
Member Wilner?
Yes.
Yes. Member Benedict?
Yes.
Member Branch?
Yes.
And Chair McAlpine.
Yes.
All right.
Welcome
Thank you.
to the vice chair positions. Next up is the staff and board member report.
Yes, so you have, we now have an opening for alternate. We actually have 2 spots, so pass the words around, get some more alternates in. And we had in your packets were the reports for November and December 2025 and January 2026. And there was no cases applied for by this past Friday, so there was no cases for the April 13th, 2026 meeting. And that's all I have.
Okay, we're open for the liaison report, please.
Yeah, we, City Council met probably a couple times. Last meeting, we approved a DPW wall repair project. So the wall was crumbling, so we approved that. And then our budget session, we'll have our work sessions on 3/25 and 26. And obviously, those are open to the public, so please come.
All right, thank you very much. At this point, I will open it up to the public, seeing as there's no one sitting in the audience. I do need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I'll
Support? Okay, so Mr. Wilner and Mr. Krug, motion to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one? We will adjourn our meeting at 7:49. Thank you, everyone, and maybe we'll see each other in May.
Or next year.